The Spirit Ether. Sir Oliver Joseph Lodge FRS, 12 June 1851–22 August 1940, was a British physicist and writer involved in the development of, and holder of key patents for, radio. Scientific work on electromagnetic radiation convinced Lodge that an ether existed and that it filled the entire universe. Lodge came to believe that the spirit world existed in the ether. As a Christian spiritualist, Lodge had written that the resurrection in the Bible referred to Christ's etheric body becoming visible to his disciples after the crucifixion. By the 1920s, the physics of the ether had been undermined by the theory of relativity. However, Lodge still defended his ether theory and rejected relativity. Wikipedia. The singularity of light is the spirit world. The ether does not fill the physical universe. Rather, the ether is what the physical universe is ultimately made from. The physical universe is entirely derived from light. Oliver Lodge, a very prominent scientist of his day, has been largely written out of scientific history because of his spiritualist beliefs. On that basis, science should also have written Isaac Newton out of scientific history, since he was far more interested in religion than science, had incredibly bizarre and fanatical religious beliefs, and identified absolute space with God. God was essential to his theory of gravity, and was the exact means by which the force of gravity was transmitted instantaneously across completely empty space. They don't teach you that in physics class, do they? They're very hush-hush when it comes to Newton's bizarre beliefs, which underpinned his science, and which led him into conflict with the great rationalist Leibniz. Brain or mind? Scientists say that we are a brain, and that a mind is something created by the activity of brain. In fact, we are a mind, and a brain is something created by the activity of mind. A brain is a space-time entity to which a mind, located in the singularity, links, and through which it expresses itself, while a mind controls a brain. The brain is alive. When the link is broken, the brain dies and turns to dust. The mind cannot die. Why you cannot trust your senses? Scientists swear by their senses. Their enterprise revolves around the central doctrine of logical positivism. The meaning of a statement is its method of verification. Science, above all else, is about providing sensory verification for hypotheses. A hypothesis is taken seriously if a sensory experiment seems to verify it. Otherwise, it isn't. If a hypothesis, once successful, fails to be verified by new data, it must be revised or discarded. All hypotheses are rejected that involve hidden variables, anything that does not produce an outcome verifiable by the human senses. The fact that the human senses are unreliable, fallible and frequently subject to illusions and delusions, is completely ignored. Repeatable sensory facts are regarded by science as the surest facts of all. Reason and logic are totally dismissed if they have no sensory evidence to support them, thus relegating reason and logic to below the irrational human senses. That's science for you. The enemy of rationalism. What is the difference between mind and matter? Mind and matter are both ultimately composed of simple waves, sines and cosines, so in this regard, there is no difference between them. We perceive them differently because of the wave property of phase, which underlies the creation of space and time, and thus of matter. However, the fact that mind and matter are the same is revealed in the fact that all matter was originally contained in the pre-Big Bang singularity, where all phase information is absent, apart from the orthogonal phase relation between sines and cosines. A huge material object such as a star can be reduced to a black hole singularity. In this process, matter is transformed into mind. It loses all of its non-orthogonal phase information. This is a strictly mathematical process. It has nothing to do with science. What are they? What are space and time? Where do they come from? How are they possible? The answer lies in the most important and powerful equation ever discovered, Euler's formula. This extraordinary formula is the basis of eternal existence. It furnishes the building blocks of reality. It not only explains the pre-time, pre-space domain that produces the Big Bang universe, it also solves the intractable problem of Cartesian dualism by showing exactly how mind produces matter. As we have demonstrated mathematically, Euler's formula is the true basis of Einstein's special theory of relativity and the all-important Lorentz transformations. Euler's formula reveals the exact difference between Einstein's relativity and Lorentz's relativity and shows how they can be reconciled via a high level of theory. Euler's formula is the true equation of light. Reality is nothing like what it seems. It is not religious, it is not philosophical, and it is not scientific. Do you want to know how deep the rabbit hole goes? Are you ready for the ride of your life? Are you ready to discover the true secrets of reality? Only the greatest adventurers can embark on this expedition. Of any importance, everything of any importance is founded on mathematics. Robert Heinlein: mind is simply dimensionless orthogonal photonic waves, while matter is non-orthogonal dimensional waves. Mind is the universe of orthogonal phase. Matter is the universe of non-orthogonal phase. What could be more straightforward? Descartes was right all along. Mind is unextended and matter is extended. But the two are indissolubly linked by mathematics, and in particular by the Fourier mathematics that underlies quantum mechanics and holography. It's time to wake up. Reality has an answer, and that answer is an eternal God equation, Euler's formula. The soul factory, the most incredible feature of the God equation, is that it is literally a soul factory. The God equation generates immortal souls. It is not God that creates souls and the world, it is the God equation. All of the arguments historically used to defend the existence of God can be redeployed to rationalize the existence of an eternal God equation. God is a personification, an anthropomorphization of a perfect, eternal, absolute God equation. When God is replaced by the God equation, it means that we ourselves can literally solve the problems of existence, and thus we ourselves shall be gods. Those who know everything and can solve everything. Always a reason. Leibniz's principle of reason. Nihil est sine ratio, nothing is without a reason. Everything has a reason. The idea that things happen without reasons is absurd. Science is now based on the claim that, ultimately, there are no reasons and no causes, only probabilities that, on the macroscopic level, appear as if they are obeying causality. In fact, they are only obeying probability, and some things are more probable than others. The mathematical organism, the universe, is a giant living mathematical organism made of energy waves, which is relentlessly solving itself to establish its optimal symmetry, the symmetry of perfection, the symmetry that produces God. The universe is a wondrous singularity of light which projects a hologram, the universe, to which our minds then link, and via which we come to complete consciousness of ourselves and what we truly are. We ourselves are the answers to existence. We are how existence becomes conscious of itself. God did not make us, we are making God. God is the culmination of our collective journey. Mathematics is not only real, but it is the only reality. That is, the entire universe is made of matter, obviously. And matter is made of particles. It's made of electrons and neutrons and protons. So the entire universe is made out of particles. Now what are the particles made out of? They're not made out of anything. The only thing you can say about the reality of an electron is to cite its mathematical properties. So there's a sense in which matter has completely dissolved, and what is left is just a mathematical structure. Martin Gardner: get with the program, get with truth, get with mathematics. Mathematics is the answer to everything. Read it and weep. Sapir-Ord. Dare to know well, are you daring enough? Only the brightest are brave enough. Happy be he who could learn the causes of things. Virgil: only the most daring can learn the causes of things. They dare to leave behind religion, science and philosophy, and embrace the ultimate subject for providing answers. Mathematics. None but the boldest are bold enough for mathematics. The source of every crime is some defect of the understanding, or some error in reasoning, or some sudden force of the passions. Thomas Hobbes: when people can reason correctly, crime will fall to zero. A mathematical society solves every problem. This being of mine, whatever it really is, consists of a little flesh, a little breath, and the part which governs. Marcus Aurelius: the part which governs is the mathematical soul. It is not part of the flesh. The body exists in spacetime. The mind links to it from the singularity outside space and time. The body is like a drone being controlled by a remote pilot. When a body, drone, dies, the mind, pilot, gets a new one. Reincarnation. The Creator. How does your reason not lead you to realize the truth that God exists and the cosmos as his fingerprint? Anonymous reason leads rational people to realize that mathematics exists and the cosmos as its fingerprint. Who needs some magic superbeing, a preposterous sky wizard? Mathematics is the quintessence of reason. God isn't. God is an object of faith, superstition, opinion, conjecture, hope, fear and mysticism. Which are the opposites of reason? The wave alphabet. Every complicated wave is a sum of simple waves. Every complicated wave can be reduced to its simple component waves. Everything in the universe of our experience, no matter what, is a complicated wave, hence can be reduced to simple waves. In other words, simple waves, which are irreducible, are all that truly exist. Simple waves are the letters of the ontological alphabet, and, when we put them together, we produce ontological words, sentences, paragraphs, chapters, verses, poems and novels written not onto paper, but onto the universe itself. Just as every novel is merely an enormous collection of letters combined in different ways by a human mind, nature is a novel produced by the cosmic mind, and reflecting nature's alphabet. Simple waves, i.e. sine waves and cosine waves. Sine and cosine waves are sinusoids. What scientists call matter is merely a combination of simple waves. Mind, whose independent existence is denied by scientists, is also made of simple waves. The simple waves that produce mind are exactly the same simple waves that produce matter, hence why mind and matter can interact. The thing that makes mind and matter so apparently different is the property of waves called phase. That's it. In the mind, all sine and cosine waves are perfect, meaning that all cosine waves are orthogonal to all sine waves. They are phase shifted by exactly 90 degrees. When it comes to matter, all sine and cosine waves are rendered imperfect, because they enter into relationships with each other, where they are phase shifted by values other than 90 degrees. Therefore, mind is defined by orthogonality and matter by non-orthogonality. Mind and matter interact purely because they are in fact exactly the same thing, simple waves, and their combinations made to seem different by the mathematical property of phase. There is no mind-matter dualism, as Descartes famously claimed. Matter is entirely the product of mind, by which we mean that we begin with a system of pure orthogonal sines and cosines. And by combining them non-orthogonally, we produce the entity that is experienced as matter in space and time. The original orthogonal waves are not material and do not exist in space and time. They are the components of mind. Mind is eternal, matter is not. The ideology of materialism is wholly false. Science, the gospel of materialism and empiricism, is therefore wholly false too. We must move away from materialism and empiricism to idealism and rationalism. To the truth. Isn't it time? Conclusion: this is a mathematical universe. Mathematics explains eternal existence. It explains the mind-matter problem. It explains how space, time and matter come from an immaterial singularity of mind. The only thing stopping humanity from having the knowledge of the gods is ideological resistance. Abrahamists want to believe in silly stories about an invisible sky wizard. They want to kneel, pray, and have faith. Followers of Eastern religion want to meditate, introspect, empty their minds, and be absorbed into some underlying cosmic oneness, in which they all mindlessly believe. Scientists, just like the religious fanatics, will never abandon their faith in their ideology. Regardless of reason and logic, they will doggedly and dogmatically cling to their materialist and empiricist doctrines. Only when humanity has transcended itself will it be able to master the mathematical truth of reality. We may be waiting a long time. I am about to take my last voyage, a great leap in the dark. Thomas Hobbes, last words.